Hi, my name is Bronwyn Newport from the fashion blog and Instagram Pret-a-NEWPORTer. I have been to, I don't even want to tell you how many fashion weeks because that will tell you how old I am, but countless fashion weeks, tons of fashion shows, and since the dawn of the internet, I've been watching the shows online, so I feel like an old pro. So for me, Fashion Week can be all kinds of different things. I think that sometimes people think Fashion Week is just the shows, but now it's really moved and evolved beyond that. This past week in Milan, Gucci actually did a performance instead of a show, so things have really changed. But for me, once I land and I'm there for Fashion Week, the first thing I do obviously is unpack everything. If I'm attending a designer's show, for me, I still think it is respectful to pay homage to the designer by wearing pieces of theirs, whether that's a full ensemble or just little pieces. I usually don't wear anything new. I like to wear old stuff, and that's just a weird chip on my shoulder that I don't want it to look like I just discovered and don't know how to pronounce their names. And then the show itself is actually the smallest circus you've ever seen. You get there, there used to be a very elegant process where you had a seat and you were assigned and you were showed to that seat. Call me old-fashioned or old lady or unwilling to elbow newbie fashion bloggers. I don't know what the problem with me is, but that's what I miss and I used to love. They also used to all be intense. Either in Bryant Park, Mercedes-Benz used to sponsor the fashion shows, and everything was in the same spot. You had a lineup throughout the day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Depending on how important you were or prestigious, you got a better time slot. If you weren't, you showed your collection at 8 a.m. and hoped that somebody made it, right? Now you can do your fashion shows pretty much anywhere you want. So I have been to a restaurant, I've been to a bakery. Last year in New York, I did not attend, but Alexander Wang had a bus pull up with models on it out at the port, and they got off the bus and walked down one of the piers, kind of by New Jersey. So you can really do whatever you want now, which I love and I embrace the creativity of, but it's gotten to be a circus. There were 2 shows that I went to ahead of time this year, and it is extremely chaotic to be backstage before a show. You would die to know that they are sewing people into these pieces sometimes because the fit is not correct or the item is not finished. There's hair and makeup. Models come from another show 30 seconds before, and maybe the show before them they had glittered eyelids, and this show is very natural. So all kinds of major transformations are going on. But I really loved my experience this year at Libertine. The designer Johnson wanted me to come ahead of time and meet with him and just kind of chat through what he was doing that season, as well as he'd made me a special accessory to go with the dress I was wearing. The accessory that they had made me was fake nails. And they are beautiful. They were Swarovski encrusted, and one of them had like a hole pierced through it with this long chain that hung from it. But it was definitely off-brand for me. I don't know that I have a brand, but what I decided in that moment that nails made of other people's hair were off-brand for me. But being backstage with Johnson was extremely amazing. He knew if one collar wasn't the way that he wanted, or that somebody was supposed to be wearing, you know, this bracelet instead of that one. Very, very specific, and that was really probably the best experience I've ever had at a fashion show. It was genuinely about somebody trying to convey his opinions and his emotions and his art. No matter who the designer is or what season we're talking about, there is something to me about fantasy. Since I was a little girl, that's what I've always taken away from fashion, is that I could be somebody different if I had a different pair of shoes. And I don't care if it's a color I like, if it's off the shoulder, if the model's skinnier than me or has a bigger chest than me. If I see someone in a ball gown, I think, oh, I could eat cereal in that, or oh, maybe I'll buy it and my husband will take me somewhere. Like, I can't resist a ball gown, ever, ever, ever. What they are doing in faux fur today is not your 70s Cher wig, tacky Halloween costume. We are seeing serious advances in the dyeing and the thread count and the way that the material lays when it's cut against a bias, and those are just really beautiful. I love the conscious effort and movement to be finding a way to be much more sustainable and friendly. Aside from that, I would say really fantasy, like I said, is what sells it for me. If I show up at your show and you're doing a space monkey theme, I am going to buy sequin cowboy boots and I'm going to try to convince other people they need them. But for me, it's about fantasy, the idea that you can try something new. That will always grab my eye and most likely my husband's wallet.